But the second year, 86, the fall of 86, that one was particularly good for me. And that was because I got to design the home base, and which meant a lot to me. I had done that first season. I'd done a first season for me. I understood what was going on in the show. But we had done like an exterior street scene that looked very theatrical. And I mean that in a not good way. It looked a little, it looked like a kind of distressed Sesame Street type thing. I don't think it was just very successful. I think we did a movie, like we had based it on the World Theater or basically an adult cinema that was not far from Rockefeller Center at the time. You know, Broadway and Times Square were different back then. Actually, for the better. I think personally for the better, but so it was like a movie theater, and then it's just the scale, everything about it just didn't seem right to me. And then we put the band, and I had to design that rooftop thing, and we put the band up on a rooftop, you know, like above everyone and above the stage. And it just, there were some good ideas, I just didn't think it worked out. And so for 86, the idea was to really start from scratch, and Eugene gave me a call, and he said, would you like to design the home base? And I said, sure. I said, you know, do you have any thoughts? He said, just make it a room. It should be like, we should do an interior. I think his thinking was that the exterior thing had not worked out so great. So let's try something else. So it was really simple. I based the design on, stylistically, I based the design on a club that we were all going to quite a bit at that time called Nell's, which was owned by Nell Campbell, who and Keith McNally, who owns all these restaurants in New York, like the Odeon and Cafe Luxembourg, and now Balthazar, and a whole bunch. He's like one of the big restaurateurs in New York. They had this club, and we were all hanging out at Nell's, and it was a very cool club. It was like a restaurant upstairs and a nightclub downstairs, and it had this distressed old English feel to it. Sort of New York combined with London, and somewhat, everything was in somewhat like in tatters. And so I drew up this room, and it wound up being the home base for the next 5-6 years or so, something like that. And that was the first time I really felt like I'm now adding what I do or what I bring to it, you know, into the show. That was the first time. And at the time, it was very cool. It was a very cool look. And it was right in the pocket of what was going on in the city at the time. And I was kind of the only, well, first of all, I was the youngest member of the department, but I was also like a New York City kid who had always gone to clubs. So I was bringing in a certain sensibility that hadn't been, at least in the department before.